Hello, this is Mr. Ferris. Today I'm going to be walking you through the adjusted winner procedure. We will start with this example with Adam and Nadia. We have two people that are dividing three assets, a house, car, and a boat. And so these are the common questions that are asked, and these are really pretty much the steps that you would take as you go through the adjusted winner procedure. So let's start with, first of all, who gets each of the assets initially. Remember, the idea here is that each person has 100 points that they can allocate any way that they want to. So Adam has 100 points, Nadia has 100 points, and they can allocate these any way they want to as far as giving value to each of the assets from their perspective. So ideally they would do this secretly so they wouldn't know what the other person is doing. So when you look at the house, clearly Nadia values the house more than Adam does because she put 60 out of her 100 points on the house. Adam only put 30, and so in this scenario, Nadia would win the house. She would essentially get that house because she bid more. Adam, on the other hand, apparently really wanted the car because he put 30 points on the car compared to Nadia only 10. So by comparison, Adam wants the car more, so he would get that. And then the boat, again, it's kind of close, but the boat would go to Adam. So initially, who gets what? Initially, Adam gets the car and the boat, and Nadia gets the house. So the initial allotment would go this way. That answers question A. Now, how many points does each of the players get according to this allocation? Well, according to this allocation right now, Adam has 70 points worth of stuff, and Nadia has 60 points worth of stuff. And at this moment, that is not really fair. It's not fair that Adam got 70 out of his 100 points and Nadia got 60 out of her 100 points. So therein lies the big problem, and this is what we have to solve using the adjusted winner procedure. So that answers part B. How many points does each person get? It's 70 to 60, and currently that is not fair. So we move on to the second part of our procedure. And this is really kind of the big part. So just to review, we know that Adam bid higher on both the boat and the car, and Nadia bid higher on the house. Adam currently has 70 points. Nadia only has 60 points. And mathematically now we have to somehow figure out a fair way to divide something. Basically, we've got to give something from Adam's stuff to Nadia so that it will be equal and fair. So the next question is, well, how do you do that and what do you give away? Adam right now has the car and the boat. To make it fair then, we have to give part of the car or part of the boat to Nadia, which seems a little impossible. How do you give part of a car or part of a boat away? Well, one answer to that is the mathematicians don't have to worry about that. We just have to do the numbers. Then we would let maybe a lawyer or maybe Adam and Nadia can figure out how to do that. So if we figured out, for instance, that Adam needs to give a fourth of the boat back to Nadia, well, they could just do that by time. They could divide the time up, and maybe Adam gets the boat 9 months out of the year, and Nadia gets the boat 3 months out of the year. That way she gets a fourth of the usage of the boat by time. So there are ways to divide up cars and boats in fractions. We don't have to worry about that. We're just doing the math part. So we have to somehow get these points to be equal. So which should it be? Should Adam give part of the car back, or should Adam give part of the boat back? Again, we could just ask Adam and Nadia what they think, but again, just looking at it from a purely objective mathematical sense, what we want to do is give the item back, give a fraction of the item back that is the least valuable to Adam, which when you think about it from the point system that was done earlier, if it's the least valuable to Adam, automatically it will be the most valuable to Nadia. And so what we want to do is calculate a ratio. And this will help us decide which item, is it the car or the boat, that Adam prefers the least. So the way we do this ratio, and this is the important thing, the way we do the ratio is from the highest point person to the lowest point person. We will always do that ratio that way just to keep it straight in our mind that we do it the same way every time. So since Adam had more points than Nadia, we're going to do the Adam to Nadia ratio in each of these two items that we want to decide. We're trying to figure out which one is valued less by Adam. So the Adam to Nadia ratio of the car is 30 to 10, based on the point value. The Adam to Nadia ratio on the boat is 40 to 30. And this ratio should help us tell which item does Adam prefer the least. So if we look at the ratio in reduced form, 30 to 10 reduces to 3.0, and 40 to 30 reduces to 1.3 repeating. So one of these ratios is clearly higher than the other one. And if you think about the way we did this ratio as Adam to Nadia. This is the Adam to Nadia ratio. So if Adam prefers something more, well, then this ratio will be higher. If Adam prefers something less, mathematically, that's something he values least. So between the two, the lowest ratio will tell us what Adam prefers the least. Which, again, remember, if Adam prefers it the least, that automatically means that Nadia prefers it more, and that would be the fair thing to do. It would be fair to take Adam's least favorite thing, which is also Nadia's most favorite thing, and split that up in some sort of a fraction. So we now have decided and figured out that it's the boat that Adam prefers the least and Nadia prefers the most, so we're going to take a mathematical equation and figure out how much of that boat do we need to transfer to Nadia to make this a perfectly fair division mathematically. So here's, again, where it's going to get a little trickier. So what we want to do is simply set up an equation where what Adam gets and what Nadia gets are equal. So we start out with an equation, or with an equal sign. That's the way I always do it, is start out with an equal sign, and we want Adam's stuff to be on the left side, and we want Nadia's stuff to be on the right side, and our goal, of course, is to make sure that these end up being the same. So we've got Adam's stuff on the left side, we've got Nadia's stuff on the right side, and again, we want to make these equal. So let's review. What does Adam have free and clear that he doesn't have to divide up? Well, remember, he got the car. So Adam has 30 points free and clear. He doesn't have to share that with Nadia at all. He's got 30 points free and clear. But he's going to only have a fraction of the boat when this thing gets all done. So let's let P, I guess I can write it over here, just like we used to do in algebra. We're going to let P stand for the percent of the boat that Adam keeps. All right, so now we're going to get all algebraic on us here. This is going to be very algebraic. So Adam has 30 points free and clear from the car, plus he's going to have a certain percentage of the boat. The boat was worth 40 points to him. So Adam's final total is going to be the entire boat, 30, plus a percentage of, I said that wrong. He has all 30 points from the car, and then he's going to have a percentage of the 40 points from the boat. And then that is going to be equal to Nadia's stuff. Nadia, remember, got the house free and clear, so Nadia has 60 points. But she's also going to have a proportion or percentage of the boat. So now here you got to follow carefully because this gets a little tricky. What percentage of the boat will Nadia get? Well, remember back here we said P was going to be the percentage of the boat that Adam keeps. Well, let's just make up a number just to think this through. What if P was 30%? What if it turned out that Adam's going to keep 30% of the boat? Doesn't that automatically mean that Nadia would keep 70% of the boat? We just subtract that from 1. So it turns out that 1 minus P then is going to be the percentage of the boat that Nadia keeps. That's a nice little mathematical principle, that if P is the percentage that one person has, 100% minus P will be the percentage the other person has. So basically we're taking 100% minus the percent that Adam got, and that'll be Nadia's, and that's going to be times the boat points. But here's where you got to watch out. This boat points that goes right there has to be the boat points from Nadia's perspective. So over here we put a 40 because that's what Adam bid for the boat. In this parentheses we're going to put 30 because it's got to be from her perspective based on her value of the boat. So we're going to take 1 minus P times her value of the boat. So it's going to be very important to make sure you don't put the same number on both sides because they don't value it the same. Adam values the boat with 40 points of his 100, and Nadia values the boat at 30 points of her 100. But now we've got an algebraic equation. Now the rest of this is just algebra. So I hope you remembered your algebra from previous years. So if we can do this algebraically, this is going to be 30 plus 40p on one side equal to 60 plus, now we have to remember how to distribute, 30 times 1 and 30 times p. So that's going to be 30 minus 30p. Now we're going to do a little algebra. We're going to add 30p to both sides. Add 30p. That's going to give us 30 plus 70p on the left side. And on the right side, I'm going to combine these while I'm working here. That's going to be 90. And remember, this is 0 since we added 30 to negative 30. And then the next step, we're going to subtract 30 from both sides. So you get a chance to use some of that algebra that you've been practicing and learning for the last several years. So if you add or subtract 30 from both sides, you get 70p equals 60. And the final step then would be to divide both sides by 70, and we are finished. If you divide both sides by 70, we will be done. The 70s cancel on the left side, and we end up with P equals 60/70ths, which I'm going to reduce in my head to 6/7. So we now know that P, which remember back here, P was the percentage of the boat that Adam keeps. Adam gets to keep 6/7 of the boat, which means, of course, that Nadia gets to keep the other fraction. 1 minus P then would be 1/7. So we now know that Adam is going to keep 6/7 of the boat, and Nadia is going to keep 1/7 of the boat. That would be the final allotment. It's a fraction. It doesn't come out evenly, but again, mathematics happens that way sometimes. And so mathematically, that's just the way it is. And we, like I said, we'll let the lawyers figure out how they can actually do 1/7 of a boat or 6/7 of a boat. All right, so now let's look at the last question. The last question was, how many points did each person get? So now we go back and try to remember, okay, Nadia got the entire house free and clear. Adam got the entire car free and clear, but he's only going to get 6/7, remember, of the boat, and she's going to get 1/7 of the boat. So let's see if this really works out. Adam has 30 points plus 40 points times 6/7. On the other side, Nadia has 60 points plus 30 times. I want to make sure that's 40 times 6/7 and 30 times 1/7. So now you get a chance to work with fractions. Let's see if that really works out. It turns out that this is 30 plus, and if you do some multiplying and reduce a little bit, that's 34 and 2/7. You can either trust me on that, or you can work it out on your calculator to see if that's right. On the right side, we have 60 plus 4 and 2/7. And so now if we add our two numbers together, this is going to be 64 and 2/7 on the left side. And on the right side, look at that. Clearly that's 64 and 2/7. The math works. It really works. So both people mathematically get 64 and 2/7 points of the stuff that they bid on, which mathematically is perfectly fair. They just have to figure out how to share the boat in sevenths somehow, using sevenths of a year or something of that nature. So that is the adjusted winner procedure with a problem that was a little complicated. Hopefully, you could do that same procedure then to another situation that has similar numbers, and don't be surprised that the fractions come out weird, but you should be able to prove if you work through the algebra and plug the numbers in, you should be able to prove that your numbers are right because these final tallies should be exactly the same. So there's the adjusted winner procedure. Hopefully you can apply that to other problems. If you have questions, bring them to class. I'll see you then.